The grand halls of the Galactic Council were silent except for the soft hum of floating lights. Marble-like pillars stretched toward a ceiling of glass, through which endless stars shone like jewels. Every member of the council sat in a high chair, their robes heavy with symbols of power and centuries of authority. At the center of the hall stood Serenia Kael, the youngest envoy in council history. Her silver eyes reflected both nervousness and determination as she waited for the decision that would shape her future. Earth, declared High Speaker Jorath, his deep voice echoing, is to remain sealed. The humans are unpredictable, reckless, and dangerous. No envoy is to travel to their world. Contact is forbidden. This is the will of the council. The chamber filled with murmurs of agreement. Serenia bowed her head politely, but inside her mind spun with questions. Why did the council fear these humans so much? What made them different from the countless other species in the galaxy? As the meeting ended, she lingered in the hall, staring at the stars beyond the glass ceiling. The words of the council felt heavy, but something stirred within her. She had studied humans in secret, reading ancient reports, watching fragments of intercepted transmissions. They were a young species, yes, but there was something remarkable about them. They did not bow to fate. They did not give up even when history should have broken them. Why forbid us from meeting them? She wondered. What if there is something the council does not want us to see? That night, Serenia sat alone in her quarters, surrounded by glowing data scrolls. Images of Earth flickered before her. Blue oceans, green forests, and cities filled with noise and movement. Humans looked fragile compared to most council races, yet their eyes always burned with life. Her heart beat faster. She knew what she was about to do was treason. Still, curiosity and instinct pulled stronger than fear. She whispered to herself, if knowledge is forbidden, then perhaps knowledge is what we need most. The following week, a small diplomatic vessel slipped quietly from Velara Prime's docks. Its engines were muted, its course hidden. Serenia sat in the pilot's chair, watching the stars streak past. Each passing light was another reminder of the danger ahead. Hours turned into days until finally Earth appeared, a small blue world glowing against the blackness of space. Her breath caught in her throat. It looked alive, vibrant, untamed. As she entered the atmosphere, her ship shuddered against layers of cloud before emerging into a sky painted orange with sunset. Below stretched endless forests and rivers like silver veins across the land. She whispered, beautiful. Serenia chose a remote landing site far from human cities. The forest greeted her with the scent of wet soil and the sound of distant animals. She wrapped herself in a simple cloak to hide her alien features. Her people's technology allowed her to mask her form, appearing as a human woman with dark hair and pale skin. She walked cautiously until she reached a dirt road, where the rumble of an approaching vehicle made her step aside. A large transport truck slowed near her and the driver leaned out, a man with sharp eyes and sun-worn skin. You lost? He asked. Serenia froze, unsure how to answer. Her studies had not prepared her for this moment. Before she could speak, the man climbed down, offering a hand. Name's Elias Ward. You look like you could use some help. Hesitant but curious, she took his hand. His grip was strong, warm, and without suspicion. Elias drove her into the nearby town, a place filled with glowing lights, laughter, and the scent of food she could not name. Everything was loud and alive. Humans walked past them with easy smiles, carrying burdens but moving as if each step mattered. Serenia studied them in silence. They looked ordinary, yet their energy filled the air. They were not afraid of struggle, they embraced it. First time here? Elias asked with a small grin. Yes, she admitted softly. It is different, he laughed. Different is one way to put it. Earth's rough, but it's home. For the first time, Serenia felt something stir inside her. Something the council never taught. These people were not dangerous monsters. They were flawed, yes, but also alive in a way no other species seemed to be. Over the next days, Elias introduced her to the rhythms of human life. He showed her their markets where people bargained loudly but ended with laughter. He took her to a gathering where music filled the air, humans dancing freely under the night sky. Serenia was astonished. You move not for duty but for joy? Of course, Elias replied. What's the point of surviving if you can't celebrate it? She thought about her homeworld. where every action was controlled by tradition, where joy was a rare luxury. For the first time, she envied another species. One evening, they sat by a river where the water reflected the stars. Serenia finally revealed her truth. She removed the disguise, her silver eyes glowing faintly in the moonlight. Elias stared for a long moment, then smiled. Knew you were different. But you're still you. You are not afraid? She asked. Afraid? You came here alone, knowing the risk. That takes courage. Why should I fear a friend? His words struck her heart. In the council, fear and caution ruled every decision. Yet here was a human facing the unknown with nothing but trust. But not all eyes were blind. Across the stars, whispers began. Distant satellites caught glimpses of her ship. Reports reached the council chambers. Serenia Kale has broken the isolation order, announced a council guard. The high speaker's face darkened. She defies us. She befriends the very species we fear. If humanity learns of the stars through her, they may rise faster than any of us are prepared for. This cannot be allowed. Orders spread quickly. She was to be recalled, judged, and punished. Unaware of the storm building, Serenia stood once more beneath Earth's night sky. Elias pointed to the constellations. We look up and wonder who else is out there, he said. I used to think we were alone. You are not, Serenia whispered. Her voice carried both hope and warning. But the galaxy does not welcome you. It fears you. Elias glanced at her with steady eyes. Then we'll just have to prove them wrong. That night, Serenia could not sleep. The weight of her choice pressed heavily upon her. She knew the council would come for her soon. Her career, her honor, perhaps even her freedom, all would be lost. Yet as she thought of Elias and the people she had seen, she realized something profound. The council feared humans not because of their weakness, but because of their strength. Their spirit could not be controlled. Their hope could not be silenced. She placed her hand against the cool glass of her window, watching Earth's cities sparkle like stars below. I have defied the council, she thought, but I have found something worth the risk. And so a single choice was made that night, a choice that would echo across the galaxy. The morning sun rose gently over Earth's horizon, casting gold across the river where Serenia and Elias had spoken the night before. Serenia stood at the water's edge, her silver eyes reflecting the sky. The cool breeze carried with it the sense of soil, grass, and life, so different from the sterilized halls of the Galactic Council. She thought of the Council's decree. Do not approach humans. They are reckless. They are dangerous. But as she watched children laugh while running across a nearby field, she could not believe those words. These humans were not monsters. They were full of mistakes, yes, but also full of light. Elias approached with 2 steaming cups of coffee in his hands. Morning, he said with his easy grin. I figured you'd be up before me. You don't strike me as the sleeping type. She accepted the cup with a soft nod, though she did not drink it. Your people rise with the sun. On my world, the council works by schedule, not nature. Schedules are fine, Elias said, sitting beside her, but the sun doesn't care about council rules. Life keeps moving. That's how we live too. Over the next days, Serenia walked among humans with cautious wonder. She visited schools where children scribbled ideas onto paper, not afraid to make mistakes. She saw workshops where inventors used scrap and spare parts to build machines that should not have worked, yet somehow did. What fascinated her most was not the technology itself, but the spirit behind it. Humans did not wait for permission to create. They failed often, but each failure was only a step toward another attempt. One evening, Elias led her into a cluttered garage where a group of engineers worked on a battered starship engine. Sparks flew, tools clanged, and the air buzzed with excitement. They've been trying to make this old junk fly for months, Elias explained. Everyone says it's impossible. That's why they won't stop. Serenia stepped closer, studying the mismatched parts. It should not function. The balance is unstable, the power flow inconsistent. Exactly, Elias said, his grin widening. And yet, give it time, they'll make it work. That's what humans do. We take the impossible and drag it into reality. She realized then why the council feared humanity. Not because of their current strength, but because of what they might become if given time. At night, Serenia often returned to her ship hidden in the forest, recording her observations. Her voice trembled as she spoke into the logs. They are not like us. They are not bound by order or tradition. They bend rules, they challenge limits, they refuse to accept what is given. If this spirit spreads beyond Earth, the galaxy will change. Perhaps that is what the Council fears most. Her reports were never sent. She knew if the Council intercepted them, they would order her immediate capture. Still, she kept recording, as though leaving a message for the future. One afternoon, Elias invited her to a gathering in the city. Crowds filled the open square where musicians played, dancers spun, and voices sang together in harmony. The humans celebrated life itself without any council ceremony or law. Serenia stood in awe. Why do you celebrate when you face so many struggles? You have wars, hunger, problems that never end. Elias looked at her with quiet pride. That's exactly why. If we wait for problems to disappear before we celebrate, we'd never celebrate at all. Hope is not something we earn, it's something we choose. His words struck her heart. For her people, hope was a fragile luxury, carefully guarded by the Council. But here on Earth, hope was as common as air, something every human carried within them. News of Serenia's presence, however, began to spread in whispers. A farmer claimed he saw a woman with glowing eyes. A satellite caught glimpses of her small vessel hidden in the forest. Rumors moved quickly, and not only among humans. On distant worlds, alien traders whispered, "The envoy has broken the law." She walks among humans. In the chambers of the Galactic Council, the High Speaker's voice thundered with anger. Serenia Kale has defied us. She shares knowledge with the most dangerous species in the galaxy. This must not continue. Others on the Council murmured their fears. If the humans gain her trust, they will gain her knowledge. And if they gain her knowledge, who knows how far they will rise. The decision was swift. Orders were sent to retrieve her. Back on Earth, Serenia remained unaware of the Council's looming shadow. She continued learning, asking Elias endless questions. Why do you fight wars against each other when unity would make you stronger? Because we're stubborn, Elias admitted. But we also learn. Each mistake leaves a scar, but scars remind us not to repeat the same mistakes. Why do you protect the weak even when it costs you much? Because one day we'll be the weak ones. If we don't stand for others, who will stand for us? Her silver eyes softened. These answers were not logical in the way the Council demanded, but they carried a truth that logic could not deny. One evening, Serenia revealed fragments of her own truth. She spoke of the Council's laws, their fear of humanity, and the risks she had taken by coming. Elias listened in silence, his expression steady. Finally, he said, "So your people think we're a threat?" "Yes," she admitted, her voice heavy. "They believe you are reckless, unpredictable, and dangerous." Elias chuckled softly. "They're not wrong. We are reckless. We are unpredictable. Sometimes we're dangerous, but that's not all we are. They see the fire, but not the warmth it gives." She stared at him, realizing how much his words mirrored her own thoughts. The Council feared the fire, but she saw the light. The first sign of danger came days later. Serenia was walking through the market when a strange shimmer flickered in the sky above. A Council probe scanning. Her heart raced. They had found her. She hurried back to Elias, her voice urgent. "They are coming. The Council knows I am here." Elias did not flinch. "Then we face it together." "You don't understand," she insisted. "They will not hesitate. They see you as a threat. They see me as a traitor." "Good," Elias said firmly. "Then they'll see something they didn't expect. Humans don't back down when someone tries to control them." His defiance startled her, yet at the same time it filled her with courage. That night, as the city lights dimmed and the stars returned, Serenia and Elias stood side by side on a rooftop. The galaxy stretched above them, vast and silent. "The Council fears what you might become," Serenia whispered. "But after what I have seen, I believe you are not to be feared. You are to be remembered." Elias placed a hand on her shoulder. "And you won't stand alone. If they come for you, they'll find us waiting." Serenia looked at him, then at the humans below, living, laughing, struggling, and hoping. In that moment, she knew the truth. Her choice had already been made. She had planted the seed of something greater than defiance. It was the seed of alliance, and soon the entire galaxy would feel its roots. The night sky above Earth was calm, scattered with stars, but Serenia felt no peace. She stood on the rooftop of Elias's workshop, her silver eyes searching the heavens. She had felt the Council's presence days before, the shimmer of probes, the whispers in the air, the faint pulse of scanners. The Council was watching. She had defied them, and now the price was coming. Below, Elias and his team worked late repairing a damaged communication dish. Sparks glowed in the dark as tools struck metal. Humans laughed as they argued over designs, their stubborn determination carrying them through the night. Serenia envied their ease. They knew danger might come, but they faced life one moment at a time. She, however, felt the weight of centuries of law pressing down upon her. Her comms device beeped suddenly, a secure signal. She recognized it at once. Only the Council could reach her that way. Her hand trembled as she accepted. A small holographic image appeared. High Speaker Joreth, his aged face stern and unyielding. Serenia Kale, his voice rumbled. You have broken the most sacred command. You walk among humans, share with them, and betray your oath. You will return to Velara Prime at once to face judgment. Serenia kept her voice calm, though her heart raced. High Speaker, you judge them too harshly. Humans are not the danger you believe. They are— Enough! Joreth thundered. We have observed them for centuries. Wars without end, destruction of their own world, recklessness without measure. You dare to call such chaos strength? They are more than their mistakes, Serenia argued. I have seen it with my own eyes. Their hope, their unity, their courage. These are things no council species can match. If we silence them now, we silence the very spark that could guide us all. Joreth's eyes narrowed. You speak like one of them. Then you shall share their fate. The signal cut off, leaving Serenia in silence. Her chest tightened. The council had made its decision. The next morning, Elias noticed her pale expression. They contacted you, didn't they? She nodded. They want me to return, but I know what that means. I will not leave alive. Elias leaned against the workbench, crossing his arms. So they've declared you a traitor. Figures. You don't understand, Serenia said. The Council has fleets that could burn this world before your defenses even notice. They do not fear war with humans. They fear what you might inspire. Then they're right to be afraid, Elias replied firmly. His voice carried the same fire she had come to know so well. Because if they come here, they won't just be fighting humans. They'll be fighting every idea we stand for. His words were bold, perhaps reckless, but they stirred her heart. That same week, Serenia was summoned publicly. The Council broadcasted across the galaxy. Serenia Kale has defied the will of the Council. She is allied with the humans of Earth, a reckless and dangerous species. She is stripped of her title and declared an enemy of order. Any who stand with her shall be judged likewise. Across alien worlds, citizens whispered. Some gasped in shock, others muttered in secret. Many feared the humans, but some wondered, what is so dangerous about them that the Council fears even friendship? The seeds of doubt had begun to spread. On Earth, Serenia was shaken by the announcement. For the first time, she felt truly hunted, yet Elias placed a hand on her shoulder. You're not alone, he said. If they come for you, they'll find us waiting. But she shook her head. Elias, you do not know the scale of their power. Their fleets blot out the stars. Their soldiers are trained to crush resistance before it begins. Good, Elias said with a sharp grin. Then we'll give them something they've never seen before. She frowned. What do you mean? We fight differently, Elias explained. The Council expects rules, order, predictable battles. Humans don't fight that way. We adapt, we improvise. We don't quit. Serenia stared at him, realizing he was right. The Council feared that unpredictability most of all. Days later, the first Council ship arrived in Earth's orbit. It was a massive cruiser, dark and sleek, its silhouette stretching like a blade across the sky. From the ground, Serenia and Elias watched it shimmer against the atmosphere. They're here, she whispered. The Council's voice boomed across Earth's comm systems. Deliver Serenia Kale to us, or face consequences. This is your only warning. Panic rippled across human governments. Leaders debated in secret, some arguing to hand her over, others refusing to bow. Ordinary citizens filled the streets demanding answers. In the midst of this chaos, Elias gathered a small group of allies, pilots, engineers, and soldiers willing to stand with Serenia. They think we'll give up, Elias told them. They think we'll hand her over because we're afraid. But humans don't surrender hope that easily. Serenia, however, felt torn. She knew Elias was ready to resist, but she feared the cost. I cannot let them destroy your world because of me, she said quietly. If I surrender, perhaps they will leave Earth in peace. Elias shook his head. That's not peace. That's chains. If you give yourself up, they'll come back for us later. We can't trade freedom for silence. She looked into his eyes, seeing the same determination she had admired since the day they met. Humans did not yield. They chose to fight even when the odds were impossible. Her heart hardened with resolve. Then we stand together. The council sent envoys to Earth, towering figures draped in robes, their voices cold and commanding. They met Serenia in a human council chamber filled with Earth's leaders. "Serenia Kale," one envoy declared, "you have betrayed the order that has kept the galaxy in balance. You have endangered us all by lifting a primitive race beyond its station. Return with us now, or Earth will suffer." Serenia raised her head high. "You fear them not because they are weak, but because they are strong. You fear their spirit, their will, their fire. That fire will not be extinguished, not by you, not by anyone." Gasps filled the room. The council envoys' faces hardened. "Then you leave us no choice." The days that followed were filled with tension. Council ships multiplied in orbit, preparing for force. Yet humans refused to bend. Protests turned to rallies. Soldiers trained day and night. Engineers worked on defenses with technology Serenia quietly shared. Simple, clever adaptations humans learned frighteningly fast. Serenia walked among them, watching their courage grow. She realized she had become more than a diplomat. She was now a symbol. To the council, she was a traitor, but to these humans, she was proof that even the mighty council could be defied. On the eve of battle, Serenia stood with Elias on the same rooftop where they had first spoken of the stars. The glow of council ships burned above like false suns. "They will strike soon," Serenia whispered. "Then let them," Elias replied. "We'll show them what it means to face humans on their own ground." She smiled faintly, though worry lingered in her heart. "You are reckless, always," he admitted. "That's why we survive." Together they looked up at the fleet that had come to crush them. Neither spoke further, but both understood. The council's strike would not end the story. It would only begin it. Far away across countless worlds, other species watched the unfolding drama. Some trembled at the thought of humans rising. Others whispered with excitement, their hope rekindled by Serenia's defiance. The galaxy was no longer silent. For the first time in ages, the Council's control was shaking, and it had begun with one envoy who dared to befriend humans. The sky above Earth was no longer quiet. Council warships floated like dark clouds, their presence pressing down on every city and every nation. From space they watched. From orbit they waited. But on the ground, something unexpected began to stir. Humans did not bow. Instead, they prepared. Factories worked through the night, producing machines of defense. Soldiers trained not only with discipline, but with the fierce creativity of a people who refused to follow a script. Engineers built weapons out of scraps, making devices that should not have worked, but did. Serenia walked among them, cloaked in simple human clothing, her silver eyes marking her as different. Everywhere she went, people stopped to look. Some whispered in awe, others in fear. She was no longer only an envoy. She was a symbol, the alien who chose humans over the Council. At first, she resisted this role. "I am not your leader," she told Elias one evening. They stood near the river, where they had first spoken of hope. "I only followed my heart." Elias shook his head, a steady fire in his eyes. "You don't get to choose, Serenia. Symbols are not chosen, they're born. And right now, people need you as much as they need hope." His words weighed on her, but deep down she knew he was right. Soon, messages began arriving from beyond Earth. Smugglers, traders, and travelers who had intercepted the Council's broadcast carried whispers across the stars. Other species, long oppressed by Council rule, listened with growing interest. On distant worlds, farmers and miners whispered to one another, "If humans can stand against the Council, why can't we?" On factory planets, workers spoke in secret. "The envoy speaks for all of us. Maybe the Council is not unshakable after all." And slowly, rebellions flickered like sparks in the dark. One evening, Serenia and Elias stood in front of a group of human leaders and military commanders. The room buzzed with tension. "The Council will not wait much longer," a general warned. "If they attack with their full fleet, Earth cannot withstand it." "Then we don't fight them with size," Elias replied. "We fight them with speed, with cunning, with things they'll never expect. Humans don't win by being stronger. We win by refusing to give up." The general frowned. "That may inspire speeches, but speeches don't stop warships." At that moment, Serenia stepped forward. Her voice was calm but firm. "You misunderstand. It is not only humans who will fight. Already voices rise across the galaxy. Farmers, workers, soldiers, they have heard what is happening here. They see you and they see me. They see that someone dared to say no, and now they believe they can too. Silence filled the room. Then Elias nodded, his voice steady. The council wants to crush us before we inspire others. But it's already too late. The spark is lit. The first sign of that spark came faster than expected. A council supply convoy moving between colonies was suddenly ambushed, not by humans but by miners from a distant world. With stolen ships and outdated weapons, they struck fiercely, shouting Serenya's name as their banner. Chaos Fire, they called themselves. News spread quickly, carried through hidden channels. Soon another rebellion erupted on a farming moon, then another on a desert colony. Each time, the rebels shouted the same names: Serenya and the humans. The galaxy was no longer silent. From her hidden base on Earth, Serenya listened to these reports with wide eyes. They are rising because of us, she whispered. Because of humans. Elias leaned back with a grin. Told you. Hope is contagious, but not all news was hopeful. The council responded with brutal speed, sending fleets to crush each rebellion. Entire colonies burned. Leaders vanished. Fear spread again, but not as deeply as before. Because for every rebellion destroyed, 2 more appeared elsewhere. The council had awakened something it could not control. One night, Serenya sat alone in her quarters, listening to the faint hum of Earth's cities. She thought of her homeworld, of the council chambers where silence had always meant obedience. And now she thought of Earth, where noise, argument, and chaos gave birth to strength. Elias entered quietly, carrying 2 cups of tea. He handed one to her and sat down. You're troubled, he said simply. I fear what will come, Serenya admitted. The council will never forgive me. They will never forgive humanity. Their power is vast and their reach is endless. Elias took a slow sip, then set the cup down. You're right. They're powerful, but they're also predictable. That's their weakness. They think everyone plays by their rules. We don't. Serenya turned to him, her voice soft. Do you believe we can truly stand against them? Elias met her gaze without hesitation. I don't just believe it, I know it. Because humans don't win by being perfect. We win by never stopping. His words, simple yet unshakable, gave her the strength she needed. As weeks passed, the rebellion spread further. Alien smugglers delivered supplies to Earth. Hidden transmissions carried Serenya's image across the stars. Some called her the Defector. Others called her the Spark. To many, she was proof that the Council was not eternal, but the Council did not remain idle. High-Speaker Jarath appeared in a broadcast across the galaxy, his voice booming with authority. Serenya Kael is not a savior. She is a traitor who will bring ruin to all who follow her. Humanity is reckless, unstable, and dangerous. Those who join them will share their destruction. The speech was meant to terrify, but instead it spread faster than fire. People watched, and instead of fear, they felt curiosity. If the Council spoke with such rage, perhaps humanity was indeed as dangerous as they hoped. For the Council itself. Back on Earth, the people prepared for the inevitable strike. Defensive shields were built, though crude by Council standards. Pilots trained day and night and old ships refitted with new tricks. Families gathered supplies in case the worst came. Serenya stood at the center of it all, no longer just an envoy. She was a bridge between worlds, a voice of defiance and a symbol of hope. One evening, a young engineer approached her with tears in his eyes. We heard your story, he said. We heard how you chose us when even your people cast you out. I just want you to know, we won't let you stand alone. Serenya was silent for a long moment before finally answering, and I will not let you fall. Not now, not ever. As the Council fleet gathered strength above, Serenya and Elias stood once more on the rooftop. The city lights glowed beneath them, and the stars shimmered above. They will come soon, Serenya said quietly. Then let them, Elias replied. His voice was steady, his gaze fixed on the sky. Because they'll discover the truth we already know. Humans are not the ones who should be feared. It's the fire we inspire that terrifies them. Serenya looked at him, her silver eyes reflecting both fear and hope. The human spark. Yes, Elias said. And once it spreads, nothing can put it out. Across the galaxy, rebellions lit up like stars one by one. The Council fought to smother them, but the more they pressed, the more resistance grew. The galaxy had changed forever, and it began with a single envoy who defied her council, and a single human who refused to surrender. The spark had become a flame, and the flame was spreading. The council fleet arrived like a storm. Dozens of colossal ships filled the skies above Earth, their shadows blotting out the sun. People on the ground looked upward, hearts heavy but unbroken. They had known this day would come. The council had gathered its greatest power. They believed this battle would be quick, that Earth would burn in hours. But they did not understand humanity. They did not understand what Serenia had already seen in them, a refusal to surrender no matter the odds. In the command center beneath the city, Elias stood with Serenia and the human generals. The screens glowed with images of the incoming fleet. Alarms echoed through the underground halls. "They're here," a technician whispered. The room grew tense, but Elias's voice cut through the silence. "Then it's time. Remember, this is not just a fight for Earth. The whole galaxy is watching." Serenia stepped forward, her silver eyes shining with calm determination. "And the galaxy is waiting for a sign that the council can bleed," the generals nodded. They were outnumbered, outgunned, but they carried something stronger than numbers: conviction. Above, human ships launched into the sky. They were small compared to the council warships, patched together with old metal and new ideas. But they moved with speed and unpredictability, twisting through the void like sparks in the wind. The first clash came quickly. Council cruisers opened fire, beams of light tearing through the darkness. Yet the human pilots darted between them, using tactics no council commander could predict. They attacked in swarms, vanished into blind spots, and struck where the enemy was weakest. On the ground, the people of Earth watched the skies blaze. Fear filled their hearts, but so did pride. Their sons and daughters, their mothers and fathers were up there, fighting not only for Earth but for freedom itself. The battle raged on. Serenia remained in the command center, guiding both human and alien allies who had secretly joined the fight. Messages poured in from across the stars. A miner's fleet had risen in revolt and attacked the council's supply lines. A desert colony launched raids on the council's communication towers. A group of farmers even disabled a council outpost by flooding its systems with simple tools and stolen knowledge. Everywhere, resistance spread. Serenia's voice carried through the transmission, steady and strong. "You are not alone. Earth stands with you. Together we are the storm the council cannot control." But the council was not unprepared. High Speaker Jarath himself commanded the fleet above Earth. His voice thundered through every channel, cold and merciless. "You fight in vain," he declared. "You are insects beneath the power of the council. Serenia Kale is a traitor, and humans are a threat to all order. Surrender or be destroyed." Elias listened, his jaw tight. Then he spoke into the open channel for all to hear. "We are not insects. We are humans. We may be small, but we do not break. You will not silence us, not now, not ever." His words spread across the battlefield, reaching pilots, rebels, and ordinary people watching from their homes. For a moment, even as ships burned and the sky shook, hope flared brighter than fear. The council fleet pressed harder. One by one, human ships fell. The defenders fought with courage, but the enemy's numbers were overwhelming. In the command center, silence grew heavy as the screens filled with red warnings. Serenia placed her hand on Elias's shoulder. "We must give them more than courage. We must give them victory." He turned to her, eyes sharp. "How?" She gestured to a hidden program she had been building with human engineers. "The Council's strength is its order, but order can be broken. If we strike their command systems even for a moment, their fleet will fall into confusion. That is when we strike hardest." Elias's face lit with determination. "Then let's do it." The plan was dangerous. Serenia herself would transmit a signal directly into the Council fleet, using her knowledge of their systems. If it failed, she would be exposed and captured instantly. Elias argued at first. "You don't have to risk yourself. We'll find another way." But Serenia shook her head. "This is my choice. I defied them once. I will defy them again. Humanity showed me courage. I will return it with my own." There was no time for more words. She took her place at the console, her hands flying across the controls. High above, the Council fleet advanced. Their weapons charged, preparing for the final strike that would end Earth's resistance. Then, suddenly, their systems flickered. Lights dimmed. Commands froze. Ships lost contact with one another. Confusion spread across the enemy armada. In that moment of weakness, the humans struck. Fighters darted in, targeting the enemy's engines and weak points. Bombs exploded against cruiser hulls. For the first time, Council ships burned in Earth's sky. On the ground, cheers erupted. People watched as the mighty Council faltered, if only for a moment. The symbol was clear. They were not invincible, but the Council was still powerful. Jorath restored order quickly, his voice snapping through the chaos. Crush them all. Leave nothing standing. The battle turned fierce again. Losses mounted on both sides. In the command center, Serenya's strength began to fade. The effort of holding the disruption signal was draining her. Sweat beaded on her forehead and her voice trembled. I cannot hold this much longer. Elias was at her side instantly. You've done enough. Rest. We'll finish this. She looked at him, her silver eyes glowing faintly. No, I will not stop. Humanity has taught me something greater than fear. You taught me to fight even when hope is small. With the last of her strength, she sent one final surge through the Council's systems. Another wave of confusion spread across the enemy fleet. This was the chance they needed. Human fighters swarmed. Alien allies joined in. Together, they struck a devastating blow against the Council flagship. Explosions rippled across its surface, and for the first time in centuries, a high speaker's vessel trembled under attack. Jorath himself was forced to retreat, his ship vanishing into hyperspace with the surviving fleet. The skies cleared. The battle was not a complete victory. Many lives had been lost, many ships destroyed, but Earth still stood. And that alone was a triumph greater than anyone had believed possible. On the ground, people filled the streets, cheering and crying. Humanity had faced the Council and survived. The galaxy watched in awe. Across distant worlds, rebels celebrated. Messages poured in from every corner of space. We saw what you did. We saw the Council retreat. If humans can fight them, so can we. The rebellion was no longer a spark. It was a fire burning across the stars. In the quiet after the battle, Serenya rested in the infirmary, weak but alive. Elias sat beside her, his hand gently holding hers. You saved us, he said softly. Her lips curved into a faint smile. No, Elias, humanity saved itself. I only chose to believe in you. He shook his head, his voice steady. You believed when no one else would. That changed everything. She closed her eyes, peace settling over her. Then let the Council fear what they cannot control. Let them fear humanity. And indeed, fear spread through the Council chambers. For the first time in their long reign, their power had been challenged and broken. The galaxy was watching, some with hope, some with terror, but all with the knowledge that the Council's grip was not eternal. At the center of it all stood Earth, scarred but unbroken. Humanity had proven that even the smallest world could stand against the largest empire, and beside them stood Serenya Kale, the envoy who defied her council, and in doing so, changed the fate of the stars. The galaxy would never be the same again. Humanity had lit the fire. The Council watched in fear, and the future now belonged to those brave enough to claim it.